Henry Ford, the man who put the world on wheels. Part 1. Introduction and the English Parchment Method. Hello everyone, and a very warm welcome back to English Parchment. We are so glad to have you with us today as we continue our journey through the lives of the most influential people in history. Today we are traveling back to the birth of the Industrial Age to look at a man who didn't just build cars, he built the modern world. We are talking about Henry Ford. Before we start the engine of this story, please take a moment to like this video and subscribe to English Parchment. Your support is the fuel that helps us create these long, detailed lessons for English learners all over the globe. Today, we are using the structural observation technique. 1. Notice the verbs. Pay close attention to verbs like assemble, manufacture, innovate, and standardize. These are the building blocks of professional English. 2. Visual association. When we describe the assembly line, try to see the parts moving in your mind. This helps your brain lock in the vocabulary without needing a translation. 3. The 2,200-word challenge. This is a long-form video. If you can follow this 20-minute narrative, you are moving far beyond basic English. You are training your brain to think in English. In the year 1900, a car was a toy for the rich. It was expensive, unreliable, and difficult to drive. Most people still used horses to get around. But Henry Ford had a dream that everyone laughed at. He wanted to build a car that was so cheap that a simple farmer could buy it. But how did a boy from a farm, who hated manual labor, become the richest man in America? Why did he pay his workers double the normal salary? And why did he famously say, "You could have a car in any color as long as it's black"? Stay with us until the end of this English Parchment special to see how Ford's ideas about automation are directly connected to the AI revolution we are seeing today in 2026. Part 2. The Farm Boy Who Hated the Farm. Our story begins in July 1863 on a farm in Dearborn, Michigan. Henry was the eldest of 6 children. His father, William, expected Henry to become a farmer. But Henry had a secret. He hated the farm. He found the work boring and back-breaking. He wasn't interested in cows or corn. He was interested in how things worked. When he was 12 years old, his father gave him a pocket watch. Within a few days, Henry had taken it apart and put it back together again. Soon, neighbors started bringing him their broken watches. He became the local watch doctor. He even made his own tools out of old knitting needles. This is a key lesson for us at English Parchment. Henry didn't have a university degree in engineering. He learned by doing. He had a mechanical mind. While his father saw a field that needed to be plowed by a horse, Henry saw a machine that could do the work faster. At the age of 16, he left the farm and walked to Detroit to become a machinist's apprentice. He was finally in his element. Part 3. The Quadricycle and the First Failure. In the 1890s, the internal combustion engine was the new Internet. Everyone was trying to build a carriage that didn't need a horse. Henry worked as an engineer for the Edison Illuminating Company, owned by Thomas Edison, who would become his lifelong friend. He spent his nights in a small shed behind his house, working on his own horseless carriage. In 1896, at 2 a.m., he finished his first vehicle, the Quadricycle. It was basically a metal frame with 4 bicycle wheels and a small gas engine. There was only one problem. The machine was too wide to fit through the door of the shed. Henry didn't wait until morning. He grabbed an axe and smashed the wall of his shed so he could drive his creation out into the street. The Quadricycle worked, but making one car is not the same as starting a business. Henry's first 2 car companies were total failures. His investors were angry because Henry wanted to keep improving the car instead of selling it. He was a perfectionist. But he learned a hard lesson. In business, you need a balance between great engineering and great sales. Part 4. The Birth of the Model T, 1908. In 1903, he tried one last time and started the Ford Motor Company. This time, he had a specific goal. He didn't want to make luxury cars for the rich. He said, "I will build a motor car for the great multitude." In October 1908, he introduced the Model T. It was simple, strong, and easy to fix. You could drive it through mud, over rocks, and across fields. Farmers loved it. It was the iPhone of 1908. Everyone had to have one. But as the demand grew, Henry faced a new problem. His workers couldn't build the cars fast enough. Each car took 12 hours to assemble. He needed a way to build thousands of cars a day. He looked at other industries for inspiration. He visited meat packing plants in Chicago, where he saw animal carcasses moving on a hook from one worker to another. He thought, why can't we do that with car parts? Part 5. The Moving Assembly Line. In 1913, at his Highland Park plant, Henry Ford changed history. He introduced the moving assembly line. Instead of the workers moving to the car moved to the workers on a conveyor belt. Each worker stayed in one place and did only one simple job. For example, tightening a single bolt. This was specialization. The result: the time to build a Model T dropped from 12 hours to just 93 minutes. The cost: because it was so efficient, the price of the car dropped from $850 to $300. Suddenly, a car cost less than a horse and carriage. By 1918, half of all the cars in America were Model Ts. Henry Ford had achieved his dream. But this new way of working had a dark side. The work was incredibly boring. Workers felt like they were becoming machines themselves. They started quitting their jobs in record numbers. Part 6. The $5 Day and the Middle Class. In 1914, Henry Ford did something that shocked the business world. He announced that he was doubling his workers' pay to $5 a day. At the time, this was an unbelievable amount of money. People thought he was crazy. They said he would go bankrupt. But Henry was a genius. He realized 2 things. 1, retention. If you pay people well, they won't quit. You save money on training new workers. 2, consumption. If his workers had more money, they could afford to buy the cars they were building. This created what we now call the middle class. For the first time in history, ordinary people had extra money to spend on things they didn't strictly need. He also reduced the work week to 40 hours. Why? Because he wanted his workers to have time to drive their cars and spend money on gasoline and vacations. This was the Ford system, mass production plus mass consumption. Part 7. the any color legend. As the Model T became more popular, Henry became more obsessed with efficiency. He wanted to make the process as fast as possible. He realized that colored paint took a long time to dry. But Japan black paint dried very quickly. This is why he famously wrote in his autobiography, "Any customer can have a car painted any color that he wants so long as it is black." Between 1914 and 1925, Ford produced only black Model Ts. It wasn't because he didn't like color, it was because he loved efficiency. This shows us at English Parchment that sometimes, to achieve a big goal, you have to make small sacrifices. Part 8. The Controversy and the Dark Side. Henry Ford was a complex man, and his story is not all positive. As he got older, he became very controlling and paranoid. He created a sociological department that went into his workers' homes to make sure they were living moral lives. If you drank too much alcohol or didn't keep your house clean, you could lose your $5 a day salary. More seriously, Henry Ford was a deep anti-Semite. He owned a newspaper called The Dearborn Independent, where he published hateful articles about Jewish people. These ideas were later used by dangerous leaders in Europe. This is a difficult part of his biography, but it is important to understand. A person can be a genius in technology, but very wrong in their social views. At English Parchment, we believe in looking at the whole truth of history, both the light and the dark. Part 9. Competition and the V8. In the 1920s, the world started to change again. A company called General Motors, GM, began to offer cars in different colors and with better features. People were getting tired of the basic Model T. Henry, however, refused to change. He was stubborn, a useful B1 word meaning someone who refuses to change their mind. He waited too long to stop production of the Model T. Finally, in 1927, he closed his factories for months to design a new car, the Model A. Later, he regained his fame by introducing the Ford V8. It was a powerful engine cast in a single piece of metal. It was a masterpiece of engineering. Even famous bank robbers like Bonnie and Clyde wrote letters to Henry Ford, thanking him for making such a fast car that helped them escape the police. Part 10. Ford in 2026. Automation and the Future. Why are we talking about Henry Ford today, on March 6th, 2026? In 2026, we are in the middle of a new Ford moment. As we see on English Parchment, the transition to electric vehicles, EVs, and autonomous, self-driving cars is changing everything. Ford Motor Company is still here, fighting with companies like Tesla to build the Model T of the electric age. But the biggest connection is artificial intelligence. Henry Ford replaced muscles with machines. Today we are replacing brain tasks with AI. The assembly line of 1913 was about moving parts. The assembly line of 2026 is about moving data. Just as Ford's workers had to adapt to the belt, we are adapting to the digital belt. Ford reminds us that while technology changes, the human need for mobility, efficiency, and a better life stays exactly the same. Part 11. Conclusion and your next step. Thank you so much for watching this 20-minute biography here on English Parchment. You have done a great job practicing your listening and expanding your vocabulary today. From the farm in Michigan to the giant factories of Detroit, the life of Henry Ford is a lesson in persistence, innovation, and the power of a simple idea. Henry Ford once said, "Failure is simply the opportunity to begin again, this time more intelligently." So, if you made a mistake in your English studies today, don't worry. You are just beginning again, more intelligently. Now I have a question for you. Henry Ford thought that every person should have a car. Today, in 2026, some people think we should have fewer cars to protect the environment. What do you think is the best way to move around in the future? Tell us your ideas in the comments below. In English. It's the perfect way to practice your future tense. If you found this video helpful, please like it and subscribe to English Parchment. Every new subscriber helps us keep this channel running and helps us bring more history to learners around the world. Check the video description for the full transcript of this lesson. We will see you in the next video, where we will explore another legendary figure. Keep building, keep reading, and keep learning with English Parchment. Goodbye for now.